Katrina, I gotta say, and we were just saying this before we started. I'm gonna say it again. I feel like it has been a minute since I have seen you.
It has. I had hair. It was down here.
Mine was down to here. I think the last time I saw you. Yeah.
In Amsterdam.
Oh my God! It was. So I'm going Friday. I leave for Amsterdam again.
Yeah. See, we're just coming full circle.
It has been. Wow, really, Amsterdam.
Bring a jacket. It's bloody cold over here at the moment.
What were we?
This whole area.
What were we there? What were we there for?
Angie was there. Maybe it was Unleashed.
Angie was there. Jerry was there.
Mm.
Who else? Lars. Lars was with us.
Okay. No.
I think so. Weren't we? And Charney was rolling around, like all the usual suspects.
Charney's always there. Oh, man. It was fun.
It was fun. We did have a good time. Yeah. We're headed back. We're going to we'll be in Amsterdam for a little bit, for a couple of days. We got some Burning Man friends we're going to go visit and spend some time with, and then we're going to head down to Normandy. We're going to get a car and we're going to head down there. We're going to drive through France, and then we end up at Unleashed World in Paris at the end of that.
Perfect. Well, I have my fingers crossed for you for the weather.
Are you trying to warn me? I only have so many bags.
Like a rain jacket.
One of those. That's fine. It's water. It's water. Yeah. You have to be gentle with an older guy's hair, because the wetter it gets, the thinner it starts to look. But when you pass 50, you kind of start thinking about hats, which might be Jerry. That might be what happened to Jerry.
What are you talking about? We're not past 50. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, of course not. Of course not. No, of course not. Oh my God. Well, you've got a book coming out. We've got some fun stuff to talk about. Are you ready to get started?
Absolutely.
Tudor hiring. Something really close. All right. Well, here we go.
CXR Channel, our premier podcast for talent acquisition and talent management. Listen in as the CXR community discusses a wide range of topics focused on attracting, engaging, and retaining the best talent. We're glad you're here.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the Recruiting Community Podcast Show. We like to think we deliver weekly insights and updates in the form of a conversation. Today, our guest is longtime friend Katrina Collier. She is the author of Reboot, Hiring, and the Robot-Proof Recruiter. She's a global keynote and facilitator. She's going to make the case for the value of TA. And we're talking about the pitfalls of all the things that are happening within talent acquisition, some challenges that TA pros face. I think in pushing back against poor hiring practices, or how they're empowering TA teams, can actually lead to stronger partnerships, better hiring outcomes, and more humane experience. I love that for job seekers, but I think her stance might surprise you a little bit, because it's not always about just TA and TA managers. A couple things first, though. We're streaming on the YouTube, the Facebook, the LinkedIn, the Twitch. We're live. If you want to find out future or past episodes, you can go to cxr.org/podcast. You can see those listed there. But if you are on LinkedIn with us today, we're going to ask you to say hello in the chat. Drop a quick note in there. If you happen to drop a note in, we do get a notification. If you happen to drop this, you're watching this at a later time, go ahead and do that. We make sure that we try to get to all of those and get those answered. And a reminder, this is an ad-free labor of love. Nobody pays to be on the show. We bring them in here because they're doing cool stuff, and we just kind of want to shine a light on it. I think with all of that, let me see if I can find the right button. Katrina, let's pull you out of the green room. Katrina, how are you? Let's get you over there. Good to see you.
Whoa, switching sides. Can't cope.
I've got all the buttons and the
You're playing.
Katrina, for those
I have arrived.
you are here. You are here. Yeah, full color, all the things. If for those who don't know you, who haven't had the pleasure of meeting you, why don't you give us kind of a quick an escalator pitch of who's Katrina Collier and why should we be listening to you today?
Oh my gosh, 20 plus years in the recruitment profession. So I've been in-house, I've been agency, I've been a trainer, I've been a facilitator. I became an author. That was a little unexpected, but that happened, and now it's happened twice. And I've had the incredible honor to speak on stages around the world. And for anyone confused by the accent, I am Australian, but I live in London. I think that's it. I'm on a mission to basically, just make TA a bit more human with the connection with managers. Just fix it. I want to fix it. I
I
want to
like
fix the bit that the technology won't fix.
I feel, do you feel, so I've been doing this. We're pushing 30 years in the space because we started when we were 5. The
Yep.
the the interesting thing for me is it's always felt a little is broken too strong a word?
No, it's broken.
Fractured?
Definitely broken.
Fractured?
It's broken, and I called my LinkedIn newsletter "Recruitment Isn't Broken" as a bit of a joke because it was like it's so bent out of shape. It's like, ugh. But I genuinely think it's got worse. I feel like it was heading in the right direction, and then the pandemic came along, and the 2020s have been a dumpster fire. You've basically had, sorry, I'm going to say fired. I know it was massively downsized, but whatever. Talent acquisition were fired. They were
Yep.
rehired for the mass overhiring, and then got fired when all the companies realized that they'd overhired, and of course kept the CEOs and the workforce planners. And then they've kind of been rehired, but they've been rehired in such a way that you haven't really got the best leaders in a lot of companies, and that's causing problems because
Yeah.
companies are trying to cost cut. So they've gone and thought, well, I'll just get somebody who's never run a team before to be the global vice president of TA.
It
I'm
is.
slightly exaggerating and being a little facetious, but there is a problem out there.
But this seems to me to be at least in the span of my career, the part where I was paying the most attention. This seems to me to be the first time to have watched our own industry or our own function get hit, like all the other functions we've seen get hit for years, whether it was sales or tech or we've watched it. We watched stupid downsizing, stupid overhiring, and I think it was our turn in the barrel.
Yeah, but the trouble is, I think it's going to happen again.
Do you?
Because I'm seeing. So last week when I spoke at an event, I asked the room, how many of you know a really good like talent acquisition leader or talent acquisition director that's out of work? And every single hand went up. And that actually shocked me because I expected about 10 people to put their hands up. And it was like, oh my gosh. So my instinct of what's going on here that I'm hearing all around the world is happening, which is that companies are not hiring these amazing leaders because they're expensive, because they're really experienced, because they'll push back against manager behavior and company leaders. So now you've got kind of unprotected teams that are overloaded with requirements who can't fight their corner so well because they're just overloaded and underfunded and undervalued and disrespected and all the usual stuff that we're seeing. And then along comes Gen AI, and every company is under pressure from its shareholders or its board to cut costs.
Yeah.
So the CEO goes, oh, well, that TA function, they don't do much, do they? Cost center. And I genuinely think that, and I saw it when I was researching Reboot hiring, that some companies are going to genuinely try. We know it's not going to work, but they're going to try it first. And then you're going to lose even more brilliant people out of the profession because people are burning out. So, I wrote the robot proof recruiter a bit tongue in cheek. Like, of course you can't be replaced by technology, but now I'm like, well, they're going to try. And
Sure.
if you don't have a strong enough team to push back and make your case, then
I think we are in an interesting spot. I think the recruiter job
didn't
changes.
see this company.
Yeah, the TA and the robots. It's a bit of a mashup. I do think the recruiter job changes. I don't think it goes away. But what's been kind of really interesting, I just HR Tech last week, a lot of talk with leaders who are really looking at these fractional TA roles, which is fancy part-time, and some of the benefits around that. Are you seeing kind of the same thing where you're sitting?
Yeah, well, because the TA leaders can't get back in, so they've gone fractional to try and get some work.
Well, I think some have landed. We got a member of ours who was in 2 fractional roles at the same time. Both orgs knew, so it's not overemployment. But a really interesting take on, and the conversations I had with her, the really interesting take was like, I can't get too tactical. It prevents me from getting down in the weeds, which she loved and was able to stay strategic.
Yeah. But it's, I do like that idea. And if that's what companies are wanting to do to cut costs, well, then do that, because there are some excellent leaders out there who are starting to write fractional, to come up in the search, and starting to go, well, I'm going to have to do this. I'll set up on my own and I'll have multiple clients, because there's so much wisdom. But I think it's like we've got too far away. And I kind of, in a way, blame the vendors because they're all screaming that we are the solution. We're going to fix it. And it's like, but you're not, because the problem's human. And I said this before he came on. It's a communication and a collaboration issue. And when you just think about communication, we were actually reminiscing about life in the 70s and 80s. It's got harder. Yeah, my phone is within reach. Your phone is within reach. And how many messages have we not answered? How many emails have we not answered? You just ignore people because it's just too much.
Yeah.
So it's like tech isn't going to fix this human problem.
I forget who it was, quite famous, who labeled the addiction to social media when we saw that coming in, 5-6 years ago. I think this maybe came out, might be a little longer, who had called it that dopamine lollipop, right? It's that quick fix, that quick hit. And I remember when I was a kid, we didn't have that. I mean, it was go outside and play in a hole, jump on a trampoline. I mean, it was something.
Jump on the trampoline with a hole in it.
Yeah.
It's dangerous, but do it anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. And we survived. Most of us, we survived. The majority.
Yeah. And I think we were quite independent and we got up to all sorts of mischief. It was a good time in a way.
Well, look,
riding our bikes out on the streets with no helmets. It was fine.
Oh my God. I was telling you this earlier. We just started watching Stranger Things. For those who are going to give me shit for not having watched it yet. We were really going through Stranger Things, and all the guys, the kids got off their bikes and they put them at school and they put them in the bike rack and they went inside. I'm like, where are the bike locks? Why aren't they locking their bikes up? Somebody's going to take their bike. Yeah. So this is the get off my lawn moment that you've all been waiting for. Yeah.
It has changed. Well, yeah, that's true. We could just leave our bikes anywhere, couldn't we? Oh, well, never mind.
Okay. So fast forward from our childhood when we carefree could leave our bikes outside and holes were in trampolines and nobody died. We're now talking to TA leaders all the time. You got your share of TA leaders. I got my share of TA leaders. Katrina, I got to ask you, because you've gone through and you've written a couple of books now. What do you think? What do you think the biggest issue is right now in your experience within that world of TA? If we're telling TA leaders now, you've got the bullhorn. What's most broke?
The recruitment alignment meeting, as I have renamed it. The beginning of the process. That's what's broken.
Yeah.
Because there's so much, it's really funny. So when I went to write, Reboot hiring, a shameless plug, beautiful, subtle color. I think they call it demure now, don't they? Isn't that what it is? I haven't really caught on to that. That
yellow. Is it not yellow?
There's something about demure and subtle and whatever, bright yellow, right? Basically, all of the books for managers are blue. So I thought, let's give him that. But the reason I went looking before I wrote it, I wanted to write one for managers. I wanted to take everything I hear from TA and write that book for managers. And I went looking, and the only books for managers are about how to interview. And I'm like, but how do you know what you're interviewing for? And it's like there were no books that were talking about how to actually say who you need to hire. So there wasn't that. And there were no books explaining what talent acquisition is. And the thing is, when you look at how they are now, so most of them are underfunded, undervalued, all the stuff I said before.
Yeah.
They're also a new function. I know that sounds crazy because they've been around 15 years, 20 years, but they're a new function. Now, some people still don't know what HR does, myself included, and they've been around since the 1950s. Right? I don't, because I don't work for companies, so I don't really have any idea what they get up to, but, I've got some idea. Slight exaggeration. But, so if the company doesn't really understand what talent acquisition is, it doesn't understand what you do all day, that's a problem. And then I'm going to disrespect you because resumes just float down from the sky and into my inbox. It's a really easy job. Everyone can do recruitment, right? So they don't have that meeting. They don't turn up for that meeting. Recruiters tell me all the time that they ask their managers, like, I need to talk to you. And it's on the job description. I gave you the job description. Yeah, okay. But the meeting is for more than just the job description. And so it's even just getting them to that point that they'll actually meet, because they just don't seem to understand how many hours and time and money and hassle they'll save down the line if they just meet at the beginning and do a proper job. So I wrote that. I mean, honestly, if anyone in TA reads it, I do think they'll go, well, duh, because I'm hoping I'm saying everything that they want to say. But I wrote this for you to give to them. So they'll read it because it says save time, money, and hassle, but it's going to save you time, money, and hassle. But go and slip it onto their desks, your C-suite. It's for them.
Well, I was just going to ask who owns that piece of setting the is it, and we'll break it down really easy. Is it at the practitioner level, that recruiter? Is it at the leadership level? Is it all the way at the C-suite? Like who should be responsible for disseminating what TA is and does, in your opinion?
I mean, TA, but if you have this, it's chicken and the egg. We've ended up in this situation where I can't get them to meet with me, so I can't explain what I do. If you can't get them to meet, you can't say things in the meeting like, "Oh, look, I know this meeting is a time suck for you and you're super busy, but Bob used to feel like that, and now Bob saves 100 hours every time we hire." And the manager will go, "What do you mean?" And you go, "Well, we get it right at the beginning, and then you know who you're recruiting for and blah, 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 blah." But if you can't get that meeting, then you can't sell your value. But I tell you something that I did notice when I was researching this, which was quite concerning. The TA, every single TA practitioner must do. I want you to know who your 5-star hires are. The last 5 people that you brought into the company and the impact that they had.
Yeah.
Because I was quite shocked. I went to our circle of friends and went, "Tell me about your star hires. I need some examples for." Wow. No, nobody could tell me. And I'm going, "No, you need to know. I hired this person in this team and they saved this many millions of US dollars, or I brought this one in and they brought in this many million," know who's had an impact.
Oh, yeah.
And how they've had an impact.
Yeah, we have a TA leader. I love her to death. Every time they make a hire at like C-suite or senior VP level, she tracks the stock price, the impact to the stock price of the organization, and that gets woven into her dialogue.
Where was she when I needed an example? Man, edition 2, make sure we get connected. I've already got more examples to put in. I'm so gutted. There's definitely going to be an edition 2.
I mean, what you're talking about, essentially, it sounds like, Katrina, it is the same conversation on Talent Advisor that started all those years ago, and that we still have with leaders talking about, recruiters shouldn't be order takers. They want to be so much more than that in a partner, but I think that's a challenge, and the culture is huge in an org like that. Doesn't want to talk to the recruiter. Here's what I picked off the menu. Go find me something.
Yeah, I mean, it literally is. Oh my God, Chris has resigned. Here's the job description from Chris when Chris started from 3 years ago.
Yeah,
and it's not right. And they go, "Get me one of those," because the managers are panicking. I know it's something like 80% of managers here in the UK are accidental managers. So they just kind of were like, "Oh, good engineer will promote them and then not support them." And then they don't even know how to manage their team, let alone recruit. So when they do have a vacancy, they panic, and they themselves are probably short-staffed, stretched, etc. So I love it. What's Chelsea written here? Wow, I've never heard tracking the stock price. That's neck level creativity, isn't it? Oh my goodness. I love that. But it's being able to say, because that CFO at some point is going to go, "You're a cost center," and you can go, "Well, yeah, I know, and your little financial thingo, sure. However, let me tell you about some of the people I brought into the company and the difference they've made to the bottom line." And the CFO will go, "Sorry, you need some more funding? What technology did you need?" And you've got to talk business, and I don't think we talk business. I think we talk, "Oh, you're wasting my time." Like, they don't care. You've got to talk in their terms.
So at the risk of throwing our own industry under the bus, do you think it is an unwillingness or an unwittingness by TA leaders to kind of step up and say, "I impact the bottom line. My team drives this change"? Why don't we do that more?
At the current time, I think it's a lot of inexperience. I'm grossly generalizing. Not all companies have done that to their team, but there's a lot of inexperience out there. So apologies if I'm offending you. That's part of it. And I think just a general lack of awareness. I mean, one of my mentees the other day, bless her, she sent me the message she'd sent to her manager, and she read, like, you don't understand, recruiting's hard. And I'm going, he doesn't care. Like, you can't talk that way to them. You have to talk in their speak. It's like, you don't have that meeting with me at the beginning. You're going to waste 20 hours. What's your annual figure? Let's divide that up. That's that much to the company. And it's also, I think, almost taking the attitude of, like, I'm here to save the company time and money. Right. And if we have that attitude, like, it's not about us. It'll help us anyway. But if we go in with that attitude, it's a different shift. You kind of sit up in your seat and you're like in your power. But I think there's fear. I do think there's fear. There's also a lot of job insecurity. I didn't do it last week. I did it. Yeah, I did it on TA day when they could anonymously do a poll, and a lot of them were scared that they would get fired again, which means they won't rock the boat at all.
Yeah.
But that's how you're going to get fired. That's how they're going to turn around and go, you're only an admin function. So it's kind of like, so I'm going back to chicken and the egg. I'm saying this on a lot of podcasts at the moment. But it wasn't like this. It feels like the 2020s have just made it so much worse.
Yeah, I do feel like everything's a little exaggerated.
I'm seeing some love over there.
There is. Here, let's pull in Adam Fitzer.
Oh, no, I thought it said love Katrina Collier. It actually says love it. Oh.
It's close, yeah. Close. Yeah, Adam says, love it, Katrina. Remind the business the accolades and achievements of those we hire, including stock price post C-level hires. That's another good one. And then we've got another, I'm not sure why LinkedIn isn't showing us the user, but it says, as an in-house team, we've been striving to tell the story of how we have saved big dollars by not using external exec search. That's a big one too. Cost avoidance, cost savings, those are big.
All of that. And even if it is, you've implemented a technology and it has saved and it has helped. It's all about how you use it, isn't it? So if there's something you can say, okay, look, I know that cost us this, but look what it's done here. That sort of a thing. So
give us the bit, if you've got to give one piece of advice, it can't just be do better. Right? It can't just be,
no.
What would you tell somebody who rolls in and they don't want to be an order taker? They don't want to be the in and out of recruiting. How do they be more strategic? How do they partner better with these managers that this book should be able to help?
I think so. When I'm talking to my mentees about this, a lot of it is like you have to go in with your power. You have to go in with your self-worth. So you're going into those meetings and that you've done your research. So, they have sent you a job description. So you've done a bit of a search, you know what's out there, but you know what your competitors are doing. You know what's realistic for the market. So you know that knowledge. Then reminding yourself that you are the recruitment expert. Managers are not recruiters. They're not experts in recruitment. I know everybody thinks they can do recruitment, but they can't, right? And it doesn't matter what their job title is. It doesn't matter if they're the vice president of whatever. They are experts in whatever they do, and you are the expert in recruitment. So you go in there with that mindset. And I'm here to partner. And I think that's a big word. Like, I'm not here to take your order. I'm not here to waste the company's time and money. I'm not here to ruin its reputation and impact future hiring. Together, we're going to work on this role. I'm going to do this. You're going to do this, and together we're going to fill this role. It's also a hole. Anyway, it's late in the day here in the UK. That's all I'm saying. I'm really good at 10 a.m. I'm not so great at 5:30. But it's going in with that mental attitude. And one of the ways that you can kind of get that mental attitude is every Friday, write down your wins for the week. We spend a lot of time, and I say we because I remember what it was like, rejecting people, telling them the bad news. I'm really sorry you didn't get that role.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do that, but there are also the wins. So write down your wins, write down what went well. It could be, do you know what? I asked my manager an audacious question and they didn't shy away from it. They actually just answered it because they're human and I'm human. And it's like, sometimes that will really help. And to have that during the week is that kind of.
I got to tell you, one of the best bits of advice. It resonates because I once had a leader tell me I had stepped into a new role and I was going to be a people leader. And they said, track everything. Every win you've got, write it in a journal. Keep track of it. Now, for a couple of reasons. One, because you remind yourself when you have those tough hiring managers, you don't suck. You're there, you're doing that work, you're leaning in. They may not always align, but you've got wins under your belt. You should feel good about them. I love the own the power piece. But the other, which was really a bit of a cheat, is when it's performance time, you have a little book of all those things you can bring to the discussion. I should be 5 stars on this. Change my mind. Yeah.
Yeah. My dad called that your cover your butt book.
I like it.
Yeah, he used to say you take it and actually writing it in pen in an actual book is really much more impactful, and you can make it a really special notebook that you keep just for that. It's surprisingly good at changing your mindset.
I think it's
But
great.
I think that's some of it. And I think also sometimes it's really fun to make managers think. So whether it's in shameless plug, here we come, the Robot Proof Recruiter, which has about 80 recruiters input into it, by the way. It's not just me. So there's some great questions from people like Steve Levy and Maisha Cannon and Tanji Pettis in there. And there are more in here in Reboot Hiring. But it's like having that great question as well. So when you get them in a meeting and you're going, so Steve Levy's favorite one, how do you know at the end of 12 months you've hired the right person? You hit them with that question straight off the bat. You don't even ask them how they are. You just go, right. And the manager's going to go, oh, Katrina just made me think, okay, she's quite good at this then. And it's this amazing thing. And then you ask them the tough questions. I wish there were many more questions about, like, well, what's the cost to the bottom line while this role's open? How does it impact you personally? Is there a promotion at risk? Is there a project at risk? What's going on? They're business questions.
Yeah.
And then you get the answers from those and you use those when you're nagging. Like, I'm chasing that resume feedback that, that just cost $10,000 because you didn't give it to me.
Yeah, I think asking more than what the job does is a very powerful tool. And I love that recommendation because you're forcing me to think about the impact of what I'm asking you for on my business.
Yeah.
So if I'm that hiring manager and you're asking me hard questions, you're making me think.
Yeah. And Steve Levy's question as well, because like, how will you know at the end of 12 months you've hired the right person? They're going to say something like, oh, well, they'll have good customer service skills because, to be honest, Chris didn't and he cost us the client. They'll say something that's probably a little unprofessional, but it'll be the soft skills. It won't be the has 5 years of recruitment. It'll be, oh, God, actually, I really need someone good at this. They will genuinely say something that's not in the job description, and they'll say it straight away.
Yeah, well, it's a real conversation. It's not, because let's call that out too. We're not talking about an email volley or a Slack or whatever. We're talking about actually having a real conversation about what it means.
Yeah. Even if it's this. And then in this as well, the other thing with any recruiters who are nervous, I swear by Amy Cuddy's power pose, by the way. I know some dismiss it, but a good 5 minutes of right before you come on the call. And then I'm sitting really upright. Make sure you're sitting upright because people follow your body language. If you're sitting like this or they're not going to take you seriously. So you sit up, I keep pulling my jacket down. It's driving me nuts.
I know these are basic coaching, like how-tos, but there is, when we went into this, pandemic era of video presence, I cannot tell you how many leaders I've talked to who said, why don't my people show up on video? Like, fix your hair. You don't come to the meeting like you're right out of the gym. I get, we're working at home and there's benefits to that and we've kept it up, but my God, show up.
Yeah, at least from here up, I definitely have jeans and boots on the bottom.
I don't even have pants on, but on the video right now, like, very professional.
Pants in the UK means something else. I'm just translating into trousers.
It's fair. It's a global audience. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Well, so in Australia, it is pants. So when I came over here and I said that, then I was corrected to trousers, and then it was like, so now every time I hear it, I'm just like confused.
Oh, the next time we're together, I'll have to share my whole story of being in Australia and explain to the dinner table why I was so stuffed with no clue for the translation change. But everybody was glued to the story. Yeah, 20 minutes. They said I didn't look stuffed. I said I felt stuffed. It's a whole other thing.
No comment.
Oh, well, we haven't done it yet. We haven't done it yet. Did you bring a dad joke?
I did bring a dad joke. I sort of had to steal one because, well, I'm female. So, not a dad. But anyway, I used to have a job at a calendar factory, but I got fired because I took a couple of days off.
That is actually an exceptional dad joke.
I stole it off the interweb.
I like it. That's what it's there for. All right, I've got one.
I just thought it was quite cute because it was kind of recruitment related.
I think it's great. What made the invisible man decline the recruiter's job offer? He just couldn't see himself doing it.
Close. I was close. I got the C.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah. See, I just
Look,
don't
Katrina,
Reboot.
we do this. I'm going to throw this up here again. If anybody wants to get Reboot, if you're listening and not watching, if you're on the treadmill, be careful. It's katrinacollier.com/reboot-hiring where you can get the book. There's also a little books link at the top. You can grab the other books as well. And follow Katrina there. Katrina, we ask everybody this, and this is kind of a funny one for you because you have written a book or two
Yes. Or 2.
already.
Actually 3. There's a 3rd coming, yeah.
Oh, well, so we always ask somebody name if you're going to write a book about this topic that we talk about, what would you call it? But you've already done that. So I'm going to flip it on you. If you were going to make a major motion picture
Oh,
out of your book, who would be the main star?
of Reboot hiring.
Yeah, if you're going to make it, it's going to be a movie.
Wow, it's about recruitment.
I didn't say it would be a bestseller.
I think I'm somewhere between Steve Levy because I love his snark, but actually I'm going Debbie Easterday.
Okay.
She's
Look, I
just
saw Steve last week at HR
exceptional.
Tech, and I mean, the dude
love
is a
him.
mountain. I mean, he's just a rock, and he
I thought
looks
so.
great, and he's on fire, and he's just crushing it every
Yeah.
time I see him.
I love him to bits. But actually, let's go woman. I'd say Debbie Easterday. She is exceptional.
Okay.
I've got a brilliant question of hers in Reboot hiring as well, which is if somebody you loved was going to come and work at this organization, what would you warn them about?
That is a great question.
Isn't it?
If someone you loved, so it's important.
Yeah, so you're talking to your manager, and she asks her. She's actually external, but she asks her clients that, and her clients are exceptionally loyal. That's the reason I love her so much. I know some of her clients, and it's a tough question because it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I've got to be honest, but yes, be honest because it's all on the internet anyway.
Well, so it's so funny. I had a discussion with somebody the other day who was talking about how I kind of fell into recruiting, but then I made a conscious
Of course.
decision to buy CXR 9 years ago. And they said, well, how do you feel about being your own boss? And I have to say, I was like, look, but my boss is an absolute asshole, but I trust him more than I've trusted any boss I've ever had.
I know. It is funny though when you do work for yourself and you forget that others might know that. And I've been known to go, yeah, my boss is a bitch. And they're like, oh, really? I'm going, talking about myself.
I let it ride.
It's funny to me. It's not funny to other people. But anyway. Yeah.
I'm sure of a few people who go, oh, Jerry seems so nice.
Bless.
So nice. He is.
Do you know, it was funny. So I started, I think I set out in 2009. But so I've been working from home since about then, but properly doing training and stuff in this side in 2012.
Yeah.
But I saw a message that I'd sent somebody in 2013 by random. I saw this today and it was like, oh, we could just connect on Skype or on a Google Meet. I was just like, that was huge 11 years ago. And now it's like Skype.
Very forward thinking. Yes, very forward.
Yeah. I did laugh actually when everyone went remote in the pandemic. What's your problem? Like,
yeah, everybody was struggling. I'm like, I've been working in shorts for years. It's fine.
Yeah. I don't understand. What's wrong?
Oh my God. Well, Katrina, it has been an absolute pleasure to see you again. And I hope I get to catch up with you. I mean, our last stroll through Amsterdam, I can't believe it's been that long since I've seen you.
Yeah.
Are you going to be anywhere? Do you have any events coming up that you're planning? Or are you just rounding out the year nice and quiet?
No, I think I've invested so much energy in Reboot hiring, and I've actually written my memoir, which is quite high on the agenda at the moment. So between the two, no, I'm quite grounded at the moment. I quite happily go somewhere if anyone would like to book me to speak. More than happy to be paid some bucks to do that and travel.
KatrinaCollier.com. Yeah. Is this a personal memoir, professional memoir? Is it the whole thing?
Yeah, personal. Yeah, no, it is my 12-year healing journey of overcoming complex trauma from narcissistic child abuse from my mother. So I've written out the actual healing and everything that I've done, this life, past life, DNA, you name it. I've written it all out. It'll shock some people. They'll be like, don't believe in any of that. That's fine. This is what I've done. It's worked for me. But I just feel already having an influence over people and a following of people that I think it's really important for me to be this vulnerable and share, because I do see a lot of Gen X who are burning out and it's complex trauma. And it's like, well, let me share what I did and maybe you'll feel inspired to go do something. So We'll see.
Look, no matter how the book turns out, thanks for your vulnerability. I mean, you're really, I mean, I know you're confident in that journey enough to write a book about it, but that is not an easy process.
It was super therapeutic, actually.
Yeah.
It really was. I was surprised because I thought I'd already healed loads and then things were just floating up. I was like, okay, well, I'll get rid of that now.
Yeah, little here and there. Yeah, good stuff.
We shall see.
Well, we'll have you back on again. I think, and I'll let you know when we're over there. I think sometime next year we're going to be in the UK somewhere.
Oh my God. Well, yeah, let me know. Hopefully we'll have much better weather than today.
Yeah. It's
so bad.
How rainy or great could it be? Come on.
I don't know what's happened this year, but it was like, okay, we're just going to go into winter. Yeah, it's mad. But anyway, global warming.
Well, Katrina, much gratitude. Thank you so much for making it on with us today. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Just a quick reminder to everybody, cxr.works/podcast. You can check out all the deets there. And then that's it. We'll see everybody next week. We're here every week. Take care, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the CXR channel. Please subscribe to CXR on your favorite podcast resource and leave us a review while you're at it. Learn more about CXR at our website, cxr.works, facebook.com and twitter.com/careercrossroads, and on Instagram @careerxroads. We'll catch you next time.